Kia ora and welcome back to Wellywood Wargaming. My name's Damon, and in today's second video, this episode of Sump Banter, I am going to be exploring something that you probably may not have heard of. If you're a Necromunda player and you've been playing for a long time, these rules here that we're going to be discussing now may have just slipped past your radar. Reason being is that they were published in a White Dwarf magazine, similar to your Bad Zone Enforcers, similar to your Outlaw Brutes, and a couple of other little articles that we've had in White Dwarf over the past couple of years. This particular one I think is very, very, very fun and very exciting and adds a lot of flavour to the game, and that is, of course, resurrection packages. Now, you might be thinking, what on earth is a resurrection package? Well, it's a way for us to mitigate deaths of leaders and champs in the game by introducing a mechanic of resurrection, a resurrection protocol, basically. Really, really fucking cool. I'm sure many of you have played any Necromunda at all in a sort of campaign setting. This doesn't really apply to you if you play sort of skirmish games and you play one-off games, you don't play campaigns. But if you have played in any campaigns, no matter if you're experienced or not, you will have experienced some of your fighters, some of your best fighters, either dying or becoming seriously injured and unable to carry on in the campaign. This happens a lot, and it can be particularly harsh for those new players whose leader dies in game one. Things like that happen a lot in Necromunda. Rolling a 66 is not that rare when it comes to injury rolls. I see it happen a lot in our particular gaming group, mainly because we've all got too much pride and we don't bottle out when we should. So lesson to all of you out there, bottle out early if you're getting lots of injuries. Live to fight another day. But me and Sylvie don't do that ever. We'll fight to the bitter end. And many of our gaming group will, to be honest. But off topic a little bit there, but your resurrection packages, what they are designed for is to mitigate that loss that you get from a leader or a champion going 6 feet under in a game, particularly early on in a campaign. So this is what we're going to be talking about now. So there are 8 different resurrection packages here that were published in this issue of White Dwarf. Forgive me, I don't actually have the correct issue to hand. This is actually on my laptop here because I've compiled all the rules in front of me, but I will endeavour to find the actual issue and just put that issue number in the comments for you, or if anyone else knows, then please do attach the White Dwarf issue that this resurrection package was put into. But without further ado, let's get into it. So really, really, really fucking cool. Just in summary, basically there are a total of 8 resurrection packages to choose from. They are all free. They don't cost money to trigger. Basically, all you need to have done is had your leader or champions die in a game and not be able to have the money to bring them back, or the doctor has not helped you in any way. So they each have a benefit, they each have a drawback, and they each have an end game as well, which is really, really cool. So your fighter still does die at the end of it, but it takes a little bit longer to do. But they come back from the dead in a really cool, fun, fluffy fashion, and it really, really suits campaign play. And because there are 8 different ones here to choose from, you can really choose one which fits the way that you play or fits the narrative that you've created for your actual gang in the campaign. So let's get into it and have a look at these. If you haven't heard of these at all, then I really hope this gets your juices flowing, because it certainly does for me. I think these are just fantastic. Some are better than others. Some are, just not very well thought out. Some are brilliantly thought out. But we're going to get straight into it anyway, because it goes alphabetically, I believe, here anyway. So the first one is called RKO Rebirth. So it's important to know, obviously, with 8 of them, you could of course roll randomly for one of these as well, and that would be really fun too. You could just roll a D8 to see what happens. But anyway, we're getting off topic again. I get very excited about these things. So RKO Rebirth, that's the first one we've got here. A living piece of abominable technology has attached itself to the fighter's body, burrowing mecha tendrils deep inside the flesh. Whatever dark technology is keeping this fighter alive has also burrowed its way into the brain. So very, very, very fucking grimdark, that one. So that's a really cool one for you. Now, to talk about the benefits and the drawbacks of this one. Now, the benefit of RKO Rebirth, you may treat any lasting injuries that would reduce a characteristic, so 46 to 56, as out cold, which is fantastic. Means that you don't miss a game or get an actual injury. Make a note each time a lasting injury is avoided in this way. So you come back from the dead, you go into the game, and you can avoid lasting injuries entirely. But every time you do roll that lasting injury roll, make a tally on your fighter card. So, now for the drawback. When activated, roll a d6. If the result is equal to or less than the total number of times a lasting injury has been avoided, you gain the Insanity trait. So, we've talked about Insanity before. It's pretty nasty. 1 in 3 you're broken, 1 in 3 you're controlled by the enemy, and a 1 in 3 you act normally but still have to test to see if you get out of it. So, to get out of Insanity, you have to be lucky and roll a 5 or 6 in the first place, and then pass your willpower check again too. But if the fighter has ever avoided 6+ lasting injuries, the fighter is removed. So yeah, really, really cool, that one. Not the most funnest of the bunch, but really cool, really fluffy. I like that one a lot. But yeah, Insanity is pretty damaging, pretty crippling. It's a nasty one, that. So the next one, number 2, is a Debt of Blood. Now this one's slightly different. There are few things that create loyalty like the gift of unexpected life. The moment when souls believe they will plunge into the abyss but then find themselves still hanging by a thread is a moment that the powerful can use to create servants who will be loyal for the rest of their lives, or unlives. So basically this one's kind of like a, you kind of come back as a sort of zombie, I suppose. Now, this is the benefit for it. So we've got choose an alliance, criminal, guild, or noble. The gang immediately enters into this alliance, forsaking all other allies. The gang will always have this alliance while the resurrected fighter is alive. Fighters gained from the allies ignore the band apart rules, count as part of the resurrected fighter's gang, and gain experience and suffer lasting injuries. So you basically gain the the attaché, what's it called? You gain that group alliance as part of your gang, which is really cool. Suddenly you're kind of like a hybrid of a normal gang and an outcast gang in a way, if you want to do that. So that's pretty cool. However, the price for it is that you must change alignment to match that of the alliance, of course, and you can never voluntarily test the alliance. The end game, after each one battle, a fighter is removed from the gang, joins the allies. This can be the resurrected fighter or any other fighter except hired guns or allied fighters. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a really good one, that. I haven't actually looked at that one too much. It seems a little bit powerful, but it's really, really cool. They're all really cool. But yeah, there is a house rule suggestion here as well, by the person that put this little rule compilation together, is that it only uses alliances the gang could normally take. You can't get alliances with gangs that you normally wouldn't get. So there you go. Now on to the more fluffy ones. We've got Demonic Possession next, which, as you can imagine, is pretty cool. So there is a supernatural horror that emanates from the fighter, infecting all around them. So you die, but then you come back as a sort of possessed demon. You've let the demon in. So the benefits for this are pretty cool. So you gain the Fearsome skill if you don't have it already. Enemy fighters must pass cool tests to target this fighter with ranged weapons. So similar to a Corpse Grinder Mask, except you're going off cool instead of willpower. So not quite as good, because generally speaking, most fighters have higher cool than they do willpower across the game, off the top of my head. Still pretty cool though. You become an unsanctioned psyker, and you can generate a random psychic power from the Chaos Cult psychic power lists. So I would talk to my arbitrator about all of this in general, but that one there, I would just talk to your arbitrator about maybe picking an actual psychic discipline and rolling randomly on that rather than the Chaos one, because the Chaos one's kind of pants, to be honest. Now the price for this one, after every battle, whether the fighter took part or not, at least one of the following must be done. The fighter performed a coup de grace during the battle. Sacrifice a friendly fighter as if suffering a memorable death. So your demon sort of takes over them and kills one of your own fighters. Now, if you've got a load of juve, that's great, but otherwise you lose 1 toughness. So the fighter dies for good when their toughness is reduced to 0. So pretty cool, pretty nasty. But you know, you've got an extra psychic power, you're fearsome, and people have to make cool checks to shoot you. So really cool, really fun, fluffy, that one. The end game, this is how this one ends. Each time the fighter takes a soul, or performs a coup de grace, or sacrifices a friendly fighter, make a note. After each battle, before deciding whether or not to sacrifice a friendly fighter, roll 2d6. If the result is equal to or lower than the number of souls the fighter has consumed, the fighter is immediately killed as the demon breaks free. So there you go. Really cool on that one. You can run out of fighters in your gang pretty quickly if you're not wanting to take that minus toughness. But it's cool to have options, right? That was just 3. On to 4 now. We're halfway there. Dark Pact. Now this is similar to demonic possession, except well, slightly different here. But there are things that listen to the dreams and fears of mortals. Things that live beyond the shadow line that separates reality from that which lies beyond. Yeah, I mean, this one is again sort of demonic here. So what happens here in terms of the benefit is that you can perform a dark ritual. Post-battle action like you are a cult demagogue, so the same post-battle action that you'd do if you were having a chaos gang, and you add, if already part of a chaos cult, you add +2 to that, which is pretty cool. You become an unsanctioned psyker, just as you did with the demonic possession one, and you can generate a random psychic power again from the chaos cult thing there as well, so very, very similar there to the demonic possession one. However, the prices and end game are slightly different here as well. So the price for this is that the gang can't sell captives to the guild and must instead sacrifice them to the dark gods. Not really a problem. If already a chaos cult, this has no effect. So if you're a chaos cult, this is the best one for you because you get that +2 to that roll. But the gang immediately becomes outlaws, so not a massive price, not a hefty price there at all. The end game though, how this one ends, is that after sacrificing 3 captives, the fighter is transformed into a spawn and the gang can retain it as if a chaos cult. So this one has far less drawbacks because that fighter, if you do end up sacrificing three captives, which is quite rare anyway, I think, you become a spawn and you get a free spawn out of it, which is awesome. So there's hardly any negatives to that one. I really like that one. It's definitely one that I would consider using on any gang, really, if it fits the fluff, of course. Now the next one, Cannibal Corpse. Of course, a great band if you listen to Cannibal Corpse and if you're into that kind of music, but yeah. They've got some of the best track names of all time, like Rotted Body Landslide and Meat Hook Sodomy and yeah, Hammer Smashed Face, particular favourite of mine. Anyway, off topic there, but Cannibal Corpse is a resurrection package in Necromunda. This one's awesome, fucking awesome, like the name suggests. So the benefit from this one is you come back and you can't be pinned. So you cannot be pinned. That in itself is fucking amazing. You ignore flesh wounds, so you never take flesh wounds and you can't be pinned. 2 amazing things there. You automatically pass any cool tests, so that's also incredibly good. So that's 3 insanely amazing things there. And you can activate normally while ablaze, so you still take damage, however you've basically got a pyromantic mantle, or whatever it's called. No, what's it called? Incombustible Hauberk, I believe is the one. Now, the price for this is quite hefty though. So you can only ever perform a single action in each activation. So only one single action, so you can move, you can shoot, or you can charge. That's basically it. It's a -4 hit modifier, except for melee. So you can't really shoot reliably anymore. You're only hitting on 6s most of the time. You must charge or coup de grace if able to. And you can't perform group activations with fighters who are not also zombies. Now getting onto the zombies part, end game. So after each battle, one random fighter in the gang becomes a zombie, just like this guy. Zombies can't be deleted from the gang during post-battle sequence, and the gang is disbanded once all fighters become zombies. So, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's so fun and so thematic and so cool, and it really does remind me of scabbies, actually, but harking back to the time when you had plague zombies in scabby gangs. Just awesome. Definitely my favourites so far. If you've seen Revenant the movie, with Leonardo DiCaprio in it, which I think he won his Oscar for. It is a fantastic movie, one of my all-time favourite movies actually. This has nothing to do with that, so you don't get attacked by a bear, but you know, similar theme in terms of revenge and stuff, so there you go. I said it again, I said there you go, there you go. Benefit for this one, note down which enemy fighter is responsible for killing this guy, basically. So you're playing a game, an enemy champion shoots you with a plasma gun and takes you out. You come back with a vengeance and you're gunning for that fighter forever now, until you die. So make a note of the fighter that took you out. If the fighter wasn't killed by an enemy fighter, choose the leader of the enemy gang. The resurrected fighter can re-roll failed hit and wound rolls against that fighter, as well as injury dice when attacking the chosen enemy. So fantastic. I just love that. It's just so fluffy. It's awesome. The price, however, the fighter must try to kill their killer each time the gang doesn't face the enemy's gang in battle, whether or not the chosen enemy is part of the opponent's crew. Roll a 4+ or lose 1 strength. The fighter dies for good when their strength reduces to 0. So if you're playing a big campaign like we do with 10, maybe 10 gangs in it, you're not going to be playing the same gang that much. So it's not the best one to have if you've got a huge campaign. However, if you're running a very small campaign, there's only 2 of you in the campaign, you're playing that against that gang every week, then you're fine. So you've got to think about that one there. The end game for this one, if the resurrected fighter kills the chosen enemy, the fighter retires and is removed from the gang. If the enemy is killed by someone else or retires, choose a new fighter from the enemy gang instead to be the chosen enemy, the chosen target. So really cool, that one, as you can probably see. That was number 6, by the way, so we've still got 2 more. The next one is Xenos Resurrection. Now, Xenos obviously means alien in the 40k universe. There are always ways back from the death open to those who are willing to leave their humanity behind. Each time an injury is avoided, the fighter becomes more alien. So this one's really cool. It reminds me of that, what's that film? District 9? With the guy who starts sort of turning slowly more and more alien throughout the film, which is quite cool. Anyway, the benefit from this one, all lasting injuries except memorable deaths and critical injuries count as out cold. So very similar to that first one there. Make a note of each time the lasting injury is avoided on that fighter's card. Each time a lasting injury is avoided, apply the following cumulative effects. So 1, you can't use or benefit from leading by example. 2, you can't make or take part in group activations. 3, you can't be targeted by friendly tactics. And 4, other friendly fighters can never voluntarily be deployed or move within 3 inches of the fighter. So your gang members are horrified by your alienness. So they can't even go within 3 inches of you, which is kind of cool. I'm not sure how that interacts with pets. I would say that your pet probably freaks out too and doesn't like you either, because you know dogs know these things. If you're dodgy, they'll know. The end game, after surviving 4+ lasting injuries since being resurrected, each time a new lasting injury is suffered, roll 2d6, and if the result is equal to or lower than the current number of survived lasting injuries, the fighter immediately transforms into a beast's lair or a different creature if other players agree. So this is again one down to your arbitrator's discretion there, I think. But really cool. Really cool indeed. I like that one a lot. And the last one here of the resurrection packages is another particularly fun one. Very Delac, this one. Is the Skin Deep Doppelganger. I love that word, doppelganger. It's always been one of my favourite words. The fighter is not quite the same and is following a personal secret agenda. Now the benefit for this one is when you're resurrected, the fighter can alter any skill advances they already have. So you can get rid of all the XP you've earned so far in a campaign and re-buy skills and increases. That is fucking awesome, particularly late on in a campaign, or say that you've already run that gang before in a campaign and it's the second time you've run them and your leader has shitloads of experience and stuff. You can completely redo the way that they skilled up. And when choosing skills, including the starting skill for leader and champion, choose from any skill category, any. Not limited those available to the gang. So you can, it does say here, you can take speciality skills there as well, like finesse or muscle or bravado or whatever you want, basically. Palanite drill skills, I mean, fuck it. Go crazy. Corpse grinder skills, savagery. How awesome is that? So suddenly you've got, you know, a Delac leader who can take, I don't know, savagery skills or something. It just, yeah, it's really cool. However, the price for this awesomeness is that you can't make or take part in group activations. Fair enough, I'll take that. And you can't use or benefit from leading by example. So that's it. Not huge negatives there. However, the end game for this one is after each battle, the fighter takes part in, roll 3d6. If a double is rolled, the fighter goes into recovery and disappears for a battle. If a triple is rolled, the fighter is removed from the gang and vanishes entirely. Now, we actually had someone, you're probably watching this, Hamish, who's the LAC leader, used this one, and after the first game rolled a triple. I think it might have even been a 1-1 or something. And we just ignored it because it was just like, oh my god, the amount of bad luck involved in rolling a triple straight after you get that was just unreal. So we just decided to waive it. So there you go, Hamish, mention for you. But yeah, as you can see, these 8 resurrection packages are an excellent addition to any campaign. I strongly recommend you arbitrators out there that don't know about this to use it, because it's a really good way, particularly for newer players, to feel like they have that confidence buffer in that if my leader does die, then at least I can bring them back for a few more games. And it's cool for it's good for everybody. I think it's generally a piece of a mecanic that you can use in any campaign, which will only help create more fun and less saltiness, to be honest. It's definitely a good thing. So hats off to whoever designed that at Games Workshop, because I think it's just fantastic. There are some real good ones in there. My personal favorite, I think, has to be the Cannibal Corpse one, just for the whole gang of zombies. I have to do this at some point. I want to do it on a Cawdor gang or something. It'll be really good. Anyway, some food for thought for you there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, and check out my Patreon as well. And I'll be back with that Delac gang guide that I've been promising for so long. It's the last gang guide that I'm going to do. I just need the book in my hand so I can physically do it. So I'm waiting to borrow that off a mate. Anyway, that's it from me. It's over and out.